welcome to the channel. I am so glad that you could join me today. A couple of things I want to talk about today. So the first one, I don't know if you'll remember if you have been watching my videos since last year or even since the year before. The first video that I did in 2021 was a gratitude jar video where I spoke about being grateful and writing down what we are grateful for and putting it into a jar. And so I did that video, and towards the end of the year, I got a couple of feedback, and also just through reflecting on my own notes and reflecting on myself and how that practice, whether it was helpful to me or not, I noted that it was helpful for me, and it's something that I'd like to continue with even this year. But I did realize that along the way, some of my notes or what I was grateful for turned into sort of like prayers. And so this year I thought, instead of making it into a gratitude jar, that I'll make it into a gratitude journal. That way I can also journal my other feelings, my other thoughts, my ideas, and it will work out for me. I was reading something the other day. I think the person is Jordan B. Peterson, and he was saying that people organize their minds in conversation, and if they don't have anyone to talk to, they can get to a point where they feel like they're going crazy. And immediately when I read this, I thought of, it's a picture that I've seen as a representation of therapy, and how it helps people to really untangle their thoughts. This picture is usually a picture of a therapist and a client, and under the client, the thoughts that are depicted of the client are usually tangled up like a wool or like a piece of string would be. And as they're talking to the psychologist or to the therapist, the lines begin, or the wool begins to be untangled. And so I know that through journaling, even though we are not talking to someone, but we are putting down our thoughts on paper, it's something that can really help us to, if we later come back to what we wrote, our journal entries, we can, approach it with a different mindset, and to see if there's anything that we can understand about ourselves, if we can understand about what we journaled. So I think that's something that I'm going to be doing this year. So if you feel journaling is something that you can try, then I want to invite you to do that as well. The second thing that I want to speak about is, in the month of January, I was seeing a lot of videos about vision boards. And this video, by the way, isn't about one. But I thought, as we are making these vision boards, as we are making these resolutions, I think it would be nice if you have identified that, you know what, I am somebody who time and again has a poor mental health, and I think that I need to find ways to prioritize it. If you are that person, which I think it's most people or everyone, then it would be quite nice, I think, if you could find ways in which you can help improve your mental health. If you can find ways that can really help you prioritize your mental health, whether that would be going for therapy, putting boundaries in place, exploring relationships which are healthy, and so on. If that's the case for you, then I think it's something worth thinking about. The last thing that I'm going to talk about, which will take the bulk amount of this video, is I think that a lot of times, especially during this year, as we get to reflect on ourselves, as on our progress, we can get to a point where we ask ourselves this question of, when will my breakthrough come? And I think it can become quite a painful, it can become quite a disheartening question to ask ourselves, where we feel that we've been doing so much, but we're not getting our breakthrough. We've been trying so much, we've been working hard, we've been trying different solutions, but nothing is changing. And it can really get to a point where it's disheartening and it's painful, and we feel like, I don't think I'll ever get my breakthrough. And so today I want to speak about that breakthrough. I want to say that the first time when I heard this word breakthrough was in the context of the church. The second time I heard it was church. And so I've always had to associate it with spirituality. And even though I still believe that it has a spiritual element to it, I do realize that when somebody has been stuck in a place where they feel like they're not getting their breakthrough, there are some emotional concerns that can rise, and that's what I'm going to speak about. No, not getting our breakthrough is when you have been trying something, it's not working. It could be you've been so sick for a long time, you've gone to numerous doctors, and you're not finding your healing, or you're not finding that option that will help you to get out of that. Not finding our breakthrough to some other people, it could be you've been trying for a child and it's just not happening. You've been, single for so long. You've been stuck in the same position at work for so long. You've been unemployed for so long. And over time, this can get to a point where it really changes us and our outlook to life. And so some of the emotional concerns that I think are quite common would be that a person can feel a sense of frustration, they can feel that despair, they can have anxious thoughts, and they can doubt themselves. And so I'm going to take each one of them and just explore how they can look like. Remember, when we explore these, it's not a definite that as I explore them, that's exactly how people who are feeling that will feel. Some of the things are just examples, and I may not get to talk about other areas that can fit in the categories that I'm speaking about. And so I think it's always quite important to remember that these are really not diagnostic videos. They are more informational videos. Even when I throw maybe words that seem to be more mental disorder related, they are not really to diagnose us, but they're just for information purposes and to see, how are the different things in my day-to-day life affecting me, and what is it that I can do to help myself, what is it that I can do to so that I can improve in my day-to-day life. And so the first one that I'm going to talk about, they are quite related, but the first one that I'm going to talk about would be the despair. I don't want to lie because I think feeling that we are not getting our breakthrough can really give rise a very painful emotion, which is feeling despair. And when I was looking for the definition of despair, I saw somebody had written about frustrated, and to them they had said that being frustrated is a condition of no hope. And I was like, I think that definition fits more to despair, where we feel that we are in a condition where there isn't any hope for us. And we feel so helpless, and we feel that there's nothing that can be done to change this. So I think despair is one of the most painful emotions that we can ever feel, because we see that there isn't any light at the end of the tunnel. There isn't any hope. And so we sort of get stuck in that condition that there isn't any hope for me. There isn't any hope for the situation. No matter what I try, it's always going to be the same. So a person who is stuck in this place, their outlook in life can be, they can feel that no matter what I do, as many times as I've done them, it just doesn't seem to work out. So they could either choose that I'm not going to try, or if they do try, then it could be I'm just trying for the sake of trying, but I'm not putting my heart in it. I'm not putting myself in it, because I know that I'm going to be disappointed anyway. And then another feeling that is closely related to despair is frustration. I want to say that I think that frustration is the root cause of despair. By frustration, I really mean, that feeling of disappointment that ends up leading to feelings of anger, where we feel like I've been trying this and it's not working out. It comes out the same way. So when we become frustrated over time, I believe that builds up into despair, and then we feel like there's no hope. It builds up into that condition of no hope, which is despair. And so in being frustrated, It can also cause us to the other emotional concern, which is self-doubt. It can cause us to really doubt ourselves. I'll give an examples in doubting ourselves, maybe with something more concrete. Especially in the context of church, if you are somebody who is a believer, when we come to a point where we are not finding our breakthrough, we can start to doubt ourselves and say, maybe there's a sin that I've committed that is causing me not to get my breakthrough. Maybe I'm not praying enough. Maybe I'm not loving enough. Maybe there is something that maybe I'm not doing enough of that will guarantee me my breakthrough. And so we get to doubt ourselves. Sometimes it can look like, I don't think that I have the abilities to do this because I've been applying for this job. I'm not getting that promotion. Clearly, this reflects that I don't have the competence. I don't have the capabilities for that job. So I am a lower version of what they're looking for. And I'm just not competent for it. And so that's how the self-doubt can come across when we are feeling that we are not getting our breakthrough. And then the other thing that is also quite closely related to all these three is having those anxious thoughts. When you have tried something, you have failed, you try it again, you fail, it's bound to happen that we may get to feel anxious, that next time when we have to try it, then we feel like, you know what, I don't think I can be able to do this. There's so many things that could go wrong. So a lot of times I realize that when we are stuck in a place where we feel like our breakthrough is not coming, we are not receiving it, it can really lead us to that place where we feel so anxious, and the anxiety can be so crippling. It can be so crippling that even when we are given a chance to try again, we end up doing things that sabotage us over and over again. And then we get to that point where we say, you see, I knew that it wasn't going to happen because for me, they never happen. These things never happen to me. Other people get employed, just not me. So it's quite important that we change our stance to how we deal with the frustration, the anxious thoughts, the self-doubts, the feelings of despair that come about as a result of not getting our breakthrough. Because who knows, I can't answer when our breakthrough will come. You can't answer. But in the time that we are waiting for our breakthrough to come, it's quite important to change our stance and how we do things and how we cope with the emotional concerns that come as a result. Because imagine waiting for 10 years for your breakthrough to come and it doesn't come. It means we're always going to be stuck in that place of all these emotional concerns. And then we won't get to be happy about ourselves. We won't get to acknowledge who we are and our abilities. And at the end of the day, we will come out with other concerns that are bigger than just these ones. So I think it's quite important that if we identify in ourselves that we have been in a place where we feel stuck, that things are not changing, that it's good to identify and to say, okay, let me deal with the emotional concerns that come as a result. How do I deal with despair? How do I deal with this frustration? And then tackle it on. So thank you so much for joining today. I really hope that this video was helpful in a way to you. Thank you for liking, because I know you will like. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for subscribing if you already haven't subscribed. I will see you in the next video.